You're watching WAFF 48 News at 5 on your side.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for this special online edition of WAFF 48 News at 5. I'm Nolan Crane. A lot of clouds today, but it was pretty warm all across the Tennessee Valley for mid-February. Jada Russell's in the 48 First Alert Weather Center. And Jada, before we get too comfortable, big changes are coming. Tomorrow, Sunday, a first alert weather day.
Absolutely, Nolan. What we're seeing now, we've got some overcast skies going over the city of Huntsville, but some areas are starting to see some of those showers rolling in a little bit. And as you can see here, we're looking at temperatures just above 55 or so for a couple of folks, 60 for Muscle Shoals, where they are starting to see some foggy conditions. But most of us are starting to cool down just a touch as we go into our afternoon hours and evening. What we're expecting is to see some of those rain chances already spilling in for our western community, just coming in a touch early. But what we are expecting to see overnight tonight is that rain pick up and gain some intensity going into your Sunday plans. So later tonight, temperatures will start to drop down to 50, some low in 50s for a couple of folks. Some areas may see about 48 to 49, but I'll walk you through what to expect for the rest of the weekend and that rain timeline coming up in a moment.
All new at 5, a man is out of the hospital and in the Limestone County Jail accused of a violent home invasion robbery in Athens. Tanner Phillips of Hartselle is charged with robbery, burglary, and breaking and entering. Deputies say he broke into a house on Highway 99 at around midnight on Wednesday. The homeowner confronted this intruder, and the intruder pointed a rifle at the homeowner and forced them back inside. This is the rifle the deputies recovered at the scene. At this point, another person in that home fired shots, hitting the intruder. The suspect ran from the scene. Phillips was arrested after showing up at the Decatur Morgan Hospital with gunshot wounds. The Department of Homeland Security is officially under a partial government shutdown. Democratic lawmakers in Washington, they're refusing to fund the agency, and they have voted down a spending bill that would have kept DHS open. The primary sticking point is ICE. Democrats say they want the agency to impose some serious reforms if it wants to restore funding. President Trump says the Democrats are going too far.
The American people know ICE is out of control. They need to be reined in. They're brutalizing everyday Americans and law-abiding immigrant families. They're not targeting violent felons who are here illegally. The president made that promise. He lied.
The Democrats have gone crazy. They're radical left lunatics. That's why their cities are so unsafe. The blue cities are the cities that are unsafe. So we have to protect our law enforcement.
Democrats are asking for ICE agents to remove their masks, wear proper identification and body cameras, and stop random checkpoints in American cities before they will vote to restore funding. It's now been 2 weeks since Nancy Guthrie disappeared in Arizona. The FBI says they have new clues. Late last night, they executed a search warrant at a home near her neighborhood. In the meantime, members of law enforcement are still looking at more videos from cameras on Guthrie's property. Yesterday, they found DNA at her house that does not belong to Nancy Guthrie or anyone close to the family. The whole situation has the community, mostly made up of retirees, very nervous.
I personally feel pretty secure and safe right now with all the law enforcement that's been around here, but it kind of shakes you to your core of what can happen again in Tucson, Arizona, in a small, pretty, I don't want to say it's mostly older people neighborhood, but it's mostly an older person's neighborhood. And it really shakes you.
The founder of TMZ says yesterday he received a third letter from an anonymous person asking for money in exchange for information about Guthrie's whereabouts. And tonight we're hearing from a former FBI investigator and his thoughts on the way the Guthrie case has been handled so far. WAFF 48's Faith Delp joins us here in the studio. And Faith, what did he tell you about the process?
Right, Nolan. Well, today I spoke to former FBI agent and former Madison Police Chief Cecil Moses. He told me with his experience in both departments, he thinks this case should have been handed to the FBI immediately. Now, Moses says the FBI is specially trained to handle abductions and kidnappings, and local police and sheriff's departments just don't have the same resources. He says he believes before the case was given to the FBI, family and police have had already contaminated the crime scene, which could cause DNA and other important evidence to be lost or tainted. He said the other thing that stood out to him about this case is how open law enforcement has been about their investigation. Cecil says when they give too much away, they're giving good information to everyone, including people who may use that information to avoid being caught.
The thing that's bothered me about this case has been, I think, way too many law enforcement sources giving too much detail, basically critiquing the case for the bad guys. If you give too much, you educate the bad guys, you know.
He says now that the case has caught the public's eye, he believes it will be solved, but at this point, there's not telling how long that might take. Nolan.
Thank you for that report. And we are covering your community in Red Bay, where leaders at Tiffin Motorhomes making a big announcement. The company is opening a new production line in the city. Starting May 13th, employees will build Class C motorhomes in Red Bay. However, the Tiffin Motorhomes facility in Winfield is closing, but dozens of employees will relocate to Red Bay. Earlier this month, there were reports on Alabama's official workforce website saying Red Bay's location was also closing. But leaders with the company say that was a mistake. Let the good times roll. After the break, we'll take you to the Huntsville Mardi Gras parade. Plus, we'll show you how Bird on the Mountain is getting everyone in the Valentine's Day mood.
We'll also cover what rain chances you can expect for your Sunday. And I'll walk through the First Alert Weather Day coming up after this.
The sights and sounds of Mardi Gras hit the streets of Huntsville today, the annual festival celebrating the final days before Lent, and it was held in the Rocket City this afternoon. There's also a parade downtown tonight at 6 o'clock in Decatur. That is called the Carnegie Carnival. The big Mardi Gras celebration in New Orleans is this coming Tuesday. Bird on the Mountain is sending a love letter to the community this Valentine's Day. Love Burritt Day just wrapped up at the park. Kids learned how to write Valentines the old-fashioned way with old-timey pens and parchment. We talked with the organizer of this event about why learning these pre-modern skills is important.
It keeps our hands busy, our minds engaged in a way that screen time and computers just don't do. All of those things were made for centuries without the benefit of mechanization, and they lasted a lot longer than modern things, too.
The next big event for Bird on the Mountain is the Fire on the Mountain Festival. That'll be on March 7th.
Tomorrow is a 48 First Alert Weather Day, sponsored by Mr. Reuter Plumbing for all your emergency plumbing services.
First Alert Weather Day tomorrow. Good thing it wasn't today, or that would have impacted the big
parade. A lot of these events, absolutely. And we even thought we would see some slight showers, but looks like they staved off for that. So perfect.
Yeah, that is good.
But
news.
we are starting to see some of those rain chances moving in already, Nolan. So expectations right now, it's nice and dry for the moment. But as you can see here on Parkway, if you're planning to get out and about, please be safe. There's been a couple of accidents happening around the city. You can see here some folks out that way. Hopefully things are all good, but it seems like there's a big backup on parts of Parkway. So keep that in mind. But temperatures right now, about 57 out the door. What we're expecting to see overnight tonight, temperatures will start to drop to those low in 50s. But as we get to about midnight, that's when we start to see some of those rain chances moving in. A little bit on that shower end, and it comes to a little more of a storm as we get to the 5 and 6 o'clock hours. That's when we start to see that first alert moving in, because it's heavier rain, and we could also hear rumbles of thunder as well as see some gusty winds. Temperatures out the door, if you're heading out to church, we're expecting to see about 52 or so as at the earliest in the morning. So expectations are to see some strong winds building up through that, and keep that umbrella on standby. This evening, though, we're expecting to keep those 50s right around. It's pretty overcast for your evening plans as well. So walking you through that for your 12-hour, picking it up at 10 o'clock. So again, pretty overcast tonight. We'll see some winds picking up out of the southeast. Going into our overnight hours, we'll see some of those light rain chances, but right around 4 a.m. into the 5 and 6 o'clock hour, that's when we'll start to see the heaviest of those rain chances. We won't really get much of a dry chance of a dry patch for our communities as we go into the early morning hours, and then getting into the afternoon. That's when we'll start to see that driest moment for us. So as we get to our 10-day after Sunday, we're expecting to see temperatures in the 60s for another day, but warming up to the 70s by the end of the work week. We'll see another chance of rain coming out to Friday. Scattered showers expected. Nothing severe on our radar so far, but we are expecting to see that kind of push us back into the low in 60s for the next weekend.
And if this warm weather has you thinking about hitting the links, listen up. Point Mallard Park is discussing some new rates for golfers. They say the goal is to make the price the same regardless the day of the week. The current idea is $44 for 18 holes, $22 for 9 holes. Decatur residents, they would get a discount, $31 for 18 holes and $15 for 9 holes. That also includes the cart rental. You can read more about the plan in this weekend's edition of Decatur Daily. Now to Florence, where city leaders, they're debating raising the price you have to pay to use the Coliseum and city rec centers. As it stands, renting the Coliseum costs $400 for the first day and $200 for a second day. It's recommended those prices go up to $600 for the first day and $300 for the second day. Rec center fees would go from $20 an hour to $25 an hour. Now, if the new prices go into effect, Mayor Ron Tyler told our partners at the Times Daily, everyone is still getting a really good deal.
48 Sports is sponsored by Woody Anderson Ford.
It's championship day here at the BBC for the Alabama High School Wrestling State Championships. Some athletes from North Alabama are taking the podium for the first time, and for some it's the last time in their storied career. Scottsboro senior Stone Stanton won state for the 4th straight year. And while it felt great to be back on that podium, it was a bittersweet day for the Wildcat star.
Happy but sad at the same time, just happy that I won state, but also sad that my high school career is done and, all the memories it's over.
Scottsboro sent 5 male wrestlers to the final round. And although it's only the second year that girls wrestling can compete at this state event, the female wrestlers showed out with 12 girls competing from around the valley in the final round. Athens entered the day leading Class 6A for the boys with a big boost from Jackson Unger in the semifinals. I'll have the full list of local state champions coming up tonight at 10 in Huntsville. Kaylee Tinglestad, 48 Sports, on your side.
It's a new era for UNA Lions baseball, and it's underway. The team cut the ribbon on the Mike D. Lane Field at Bank Independence Stadium this afternoon. The Lions are hosting Southern Illinois University Edwardsville for the very first series at this brand new ballpark. There was a special T-shirt giveaway last night and a grand opening party at the ballpark today. Time for Olympics. Here is our official medal count as things stand right now in northern Italy. Norway has taken the lead over the Italians. Team USA is closing in, just 3 medals behind the leader. Japan, Austria, and Germany, they're having a great Olympics so far as well. And we have another full night of Olympic action coming up right here on WAFF 48 tonight. We're going to start with the final runs for the women's skeleton sled. Then it's men's slalom skiing, followed by speed skating and long distance skiing. And then you can join us right here for our newscast at 10 p.m.
One final look at your forecast. We're expecting to see a nice evening out of your Sunday, but that morning you're going to see a lot of scattered showers. So keep that in mind as you make your morning plans. Keep that umbrella on standby. But looking ahead to the work week, we have a nice week ahead. Mid-60s is where we'll start the week, but we warm up, hitting 75 by Thursday. Pretty overcast toward the end of the week, and we're expecting to see some rain by Friday. So that'll push us back into 60s by next weekend.
But it is good to see that little warm up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I kind of miss the 40s a little bit.
No.
Just a teeny bit. Just
maybe a little. Thank you, Jada. And thank you for joining us. As always, more news right here as it breaks. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you back tonight at 10.